What's going on, all you awesome gamers and guardians out there in the nation? Your man Sly here, and I get asked three things all the time. I'll tell you what those are in just a second, but first, this movie is simply my opinion. It's neither right nor is it wrong, or is it shared by others. Some guns, they work best with different people, while others stick with an auto rifle pretty much every single game that they play. So with that said, you may not agree with my rankings, but this is what I feel when using these weapons, and I'm going to be giving you guys my top 2 weapon from each Foundry, as well as a runner-up. So with that said, the 3 things that I get asked most frequently are: what are your top 3 games? What are your favorite weapons in Destiny? And where in the sweet shit did you get your gamer tag from? Well, good sirs and madams, with time, all will be revealed. But first, let's start out with the guns. Of course, things do change over time, and I'm leaving year 1 stuff out of this, as well as exotics this go around. In this video, I want to show you my top 2 weapons from every weapons manufacturer in Destiny. I'm even going to shed some light on a few that you might have never even heard of, or if you have, thought it was just a simple name, not a gun armory. I've tested a lot of weapons, and if you would have asked me the same question before the December update, it would have been a completely different answer. But with the recent pulse rifle dirt stomp, scouts are now being heavily favored, and rightfully so. For the first time in the history of Destiny, scouts are at the front of your loadout and finally feel like a scout rifle should. Powerful, and it punishes the inaccurate. Although with pulse rifles now taking a back seat, hand cannons are once again coming to light, and while I don't agree with the range they have in PvE, they're pretty much a faster firing scout rifle without the range or the ammo. But if you haven't tried a hand cannon in a while, ones like, something like the Ace of Spades, something in that range, pick it back up, guys. You might be surprised what you find. Okay, so first up, let's check out the big armories of Destiny. First up is the biggest, the most well-known, Suros. It's well-known for the beastly exotic, the Suros regime. It's one of the oldest known armories around due to that simple fact. The others active in the second year of Destiny are Hakke, and Omolon. But did you know that if you head over to Evil Levante's little corner store, you can actually take a peek at what might be the next brand names that you will see in Destiny, maybe even Destiny 2. You've seen the signs plastered all over SRL. In fact, there are 4 other weapon manufacturers in Destiny that were hinted at in vanilla, but are now pretty much out of the loop. Those are Daito, Kassoid, Nadir, and Crux Lomar. Although Crux Lomar are the infamous manufacturers of the Gjallarhorn, and one I forgot to mention, Tex Mechanica, they make the legendary Chaperone and the Last Word. The others, well, they really don't have that much of history. If you were one of the Guardians that played since vanilla, you might have received like a rare or blue weapon drop that in the description read from the manufacturers at Daito, or, a Nadir Crucible weapon, something like that. The names were there, but they didn't really mean anything since all weapons pretty much looked alike. Well, since Year 2, they brought some changes that manufacturers now each have an identity. It's safe to assume that the others will be getting their own makeover when the time is right, but that was just a little piece of info I wanted to share with all you guys. Didn't know if you knew it, but there you go. Alright guys, let's get on to my top 2 weapons from each gun manufacturer. Alright, first let's start off with Suros. New age, rounded curves, always stable with a very light feel to them. No special weapons, only primaries and rocket launcher. This one was a tough one, man. Popularity says that Hakke is first, and it would have been so last month. But there is a rocket launcher that sets the bar of what other rocket launchers should aspire to be, and that is the JLB-47. One of the fastest legendary rockers out there, one of the fastest legendary rocket launchers out there with a very high blast radius. In terms of blast radius to speed ratio, it is the best. This one here that you can see on screen came from an awesome gunsmith package, and it is killer, man. It beats out Truth when it comes to speed, only lacks in blast radius by a very, very small amount. The only downside is the amount of ammo. Rate of fire is fine for my needs, but with that speed, man, you win every time. This also has a named counterpart called the Vertigo, sold by Lakshmi at the Future War Cult. It is a great weapon already set to kill. Up second is of course the PDX-45, the generic version of the Hakke. Its rate of fire with its unmatched stability and not to mention its low nerf in comparison to other pulse rifles still make it a very viable weapon in PvP and still one that you should be excited about when you finally get the right one dropped. Although it's been nerfed by 2%, the fast-firing, very low-impact pulse rifles are still very dangerous. But anything with a higher impact in Hawksaw, like its other counterpart, the PDX-41, it's just too nerfed to make it a competitive option these days. As for runner-up, I have to go with the auto rifle you will probably start seeing more and more of here very, very soon. With Doctrine of Passing and Hakkon's Hatchet destroying people in the Crucible, ARs will get a second look, and this one is ready to be looked at. The Suros ARI is in the same archetype as the Iron Banner's AR, Hakkon's Hatchet, but with a good chunk more stability and tighter grouping. It lacks range and reload, but with the right perks, could be set up very, very nicely. Keep an eye out for this beast, guys. It's coming very soon. So, Omolon is next, and number 1 is too easy. You know what it is, man. Hung Jury, or the generic version, which is the Tonella. Hung Jury has the same rate of fire and impact, but a little more range and a little bit more reload, which is why it stands out with its own name. Omolon is known for its smooth feel, its stupidly stable platform, and reload speed. The small sight frees up a lot of visibility, and you can't beat the Jury with anything else in PvE, especially with a mag that holds over 20 bullets. Besides the Mida or the Trial Scout, it's also a fantastic PvP weapon. Slot number 2, also kind of easy, it's the Omolon Snipers. While I have to give it to the Irene due to the impact stability ratio, the Izumi is a headshot master's dream. Great, new sights, a stable platform, and sounds like Omolon looks, man, futuristic. You can't beat the look of Omolon and the damage it can do per trigger pull from any other Foundry. A Hung Jury Irene sniper combo is a deadly pair no matter which game type you bring it into. Man, I love the style, I love the scopes, the sights, and the sound. Omolon has definitely got it going on. As for honorable mention, I had to think about it, man, and I eventually settled on the Kumakatak HC4, or more familiarly known as the Down and Doubt, a Vanguard hand cannon. It actually sailed me through my first few weeks of raiding, and its only downside is its lack of a large clip. Stability and rate of fire cannot be beat, and besides its ammo, it doesn't really sound like a hand cannon should. Other than that, man, if you miss old hand cannon days, you should have to check this bad boy out. Unless you have the Ace of Spades, I believe this is your next best bet. Alright, next on the list is Hakke, or Hakke if you're Dutch. Man, this one was kind of tough. Actually, Hakke was one of the Foundries I was most excited about pre-release, and then it kind of let me down personally. I like the military feel and the look to them, but the horrid stability on a lot of their platforms, especially snipers, mixed with their odd sights, except for 1 or 2 great ones, make it a really odd Foundry in my opinion. You either have a god weapon in your hands, or a gun-shaped pile of weapon parts. I tried the hand cannons, definitely not a fan. Tried their snipers, way too much recoil for such little impact, but a few of them are now starting to stand out, and I'm going to choose my top 2 of those. First up, Still Piercer. It looks the way Patience and Time should have looked. Great impact, cool sound, a lot of recoil for the impact, but it's definitely manageable. I loved that weapon until I found the perfect 1,000 yard stare. Now I'm not using anything else. Second, Herja D all the way. If you're one of those people that say I don't do gunsmith, then I feel sorry for you, man, because there were some weapons at the beginning of the Taken King that blew my mind. Hakke pulse rifles shoot 4 projectiles to start off with, which amounts to extra damage with each trigger pull. Pre-December, Herja Ds were the most underused, overpowered weapon in Destiny. With its 4 bullets per trigger squeeze, comboed with the right perks, you could almost put an opponent down with 2 trigger pulls, and doing that with such a low impact pulse rifle says a lot. It takes an extra trigger pull these days, but it's still a great weapon. I have a couple back from the gunsmith that I just cannot let go. Like Headseeker, full auto braced frame, glass half full, spray and play with fitted stock. Those are beasts, man. Stable as hell. Hakke pulse rifle sounds are on point, but discovered a little too late, I'm afraid. I still love them, but you know, it is what it is. Finally, my runner-up for Hakke is the Zerenea D. I also have a few of these from the early gunsmith packages, and they are beast rolls. With auto rifles starting to make a comeback, and ARs with fast rate of fire and low impact starting to shred opponents, the Zerenea is one you are starting to see more and more of. Stability is unmatched except by Suros for how fast that it shoots, and the sound is on point. The only downside is the range and the sights, but that's pretty much on all Hakke weapons. But there it is, y'all. You asked, I answered. The only other weapon I wanted to mention but didn't really have room for was a shotgun, but Shotguns are pretty much a dime a dozen, so it's no big deal. As with most lists, it's due to change as soon as the devs start to tinker with incoming updates, so depending what goes on in February, the list might change. But if you're a new Guardian starting out and hurting for marks and coins, my advice is do the gunsmith ASAP. Every week you get great weapon packages you can claim the following week for shooting things and some glimmer. Hawksaw, Hung Jury, Down and Out, all obtainable from the gunsmith. It's just a different role with perks and under another name. Sooner or later, you will see another awesome weapon roll out of the gunsmith, and you'll thank me later. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what weapon is your go-to. If you had to choose one primary, just one, what would it be? Also, since there are still other weapons out there that aren't Foundry related, that is coming up in the next video, and there are some great ones. So, let me know down below, and as usual, if you're watching this right here, right effing now, then you, my crucible-destroying beasts of a nation, are the biggest group of badasses that I have ever seen. Take it easy, guys. See you all in the next one. This is your man Sly. Done, gone, and out.